Good evening and welcome to the first edition of UBC News Tonight on this 23rd day of February 2022. I'm LAURYN Masika Kazimoto. Now, before we get into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories this evening. In our headlines tonight, Serere County voting ends up. Low turn-up and intimidation allegations dominate. 67 learners risk missing secondary education as UNEB allegedly misplaced PLE results of Nabilatuk pupils. Recordings of how suspects kidnapped and murdered Najirinya have been presented to court. And Vipers prepare for East African derby against Simba. Good evening once again. Welcome. The low turn-up of voters, claims of intimidation, arrests and voter bribery have dominated the Thursday 23rd polling process in Serere County parliamentary by-elections. However, according to police and the Electoral Commission, such allegations are baseless and aim at discrediting the principles of democracy. For now, tallying of results at different polling stations had commenced as the final results are expected late in the night.
At exactly 5 a.m. here in Serere District, the Electoral Commission initiated the process of distributing voter materials to different polling stations across Serere County constituency.
We have 138 polling stations. By 6 a.m. in the morning, all the stations had received their materials.
But before the voting process could kick off, voters, especially the candidates' agents, were given an opportunity to ascertain the nature and the kind of voting materials they received, especially in line with confirmation that there was no interruption or tampering with the voting materials. And now, when it came to voting by exactly 7 a.m. at different polling stations, voters started casting their votes.
So far, all looks calm. We hope, but it's only 7 a.m. So we hope everything will go well. We hope the heavy deployment of security means good. They intend to keep peace and calm.
So the issue is this deployment is not to infringe on anyone's right to vote or anyone's rights of movement. It is to make sure everyone enjoys the equal platform to participate in this election fairly and peacefully.
At different polling stations, though it was still morning time, but the turn-up was a bit promising as many supporters of different candidates walked in to cast the vote of Serere County.
That is, we arrested one Mr. Okiring John from Okodo polling station in Kateta sub-county for voter bribery.
O'Brien Primary School Playground in Ochiapa Town Council was another polling center where voting started in time.
In fact, we are telling these ones who have already voted, at least when they get back, they tell them to hurry so that we catch up with time.
It is at this station where NRM's candidate Philip Owicho casted his vote.
And so it's a good experience that we've been able to traverse the entire county. I have just cast my vote at exactly 9, and from the mood you can clearly see that the support is massive. And so I am saying that the victory has come to Serere, victory has come for people who love peace, people who want progress, and victory has come for the NRM party.
Brigadier General Felix Busirozi spent the entire day monitoring the voting process.
The cameras are pointing at all those see army, police vehicles, and then we need to be asking ourselves, since when did Konyi come to Serere?
Other candidates include ANT's Ali Salaso, Emmanuel Omoding Okabe, and FDC's Emmanuel Iratu also casted their vote in the morning hours.
I feel very good, feel a proud Ugandan to have voted today, and I wish all my colleagues, the candidates, their very best, and we're all just hoping for the best.
However, the polls have been widely dominated by counter-accusations from all participating parties.
Systematic rigging that is already taking place, especially in Atira sub-county which is my stronghold.
We are not going to be cowed by this kind of intimidation.
What these people are doing is they're doing politics of opposition in a third world country, where you oppose everything. You want even to show that you can oppose the people who are in charge of an exercise.
The questions have been raised about security presence, and we've said that security is part of the electoral process. And we've said that the electoral environment needs to be secured.
According to the Electoral Commission, the process was a swift one.
The ballot papers that are out there are enough for the processes to start and even conclude. Our experience, like you've also noted, is sometimes during by-elections you even have a turn-up of less than 50% of registered voters. So that is, there's no crisis, but we've also acted transparently. We shared serial numbers as proof that that is actually what was sent to that particular polling station.
As voting concluded at 4 p.m. at all polling stations, vote tallying then commenced.
42, 43.
This tent here at the district headquarters is what is going to act as the operational command center for the Independent Electoral Commission of Uganda in as far as tallying of the outcome of the 23rd February 2023 Serere County by-elections is concerned. Anytime from now, we expect the Independent Electoral Commission of Uganda to give the official and final outcome of these polls. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Serere District.
Government commits to funding and sponsoring education in institutions of higher learning and to empower underprivileged students through its government loan scheme. Now, this pledge was made by the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, at the 13th graduation ceremony of St. Lawrence University. At a function, she was installed as the university's third chancellor, replacing Emeritus Edward Chiwanuka Sekandi.
It all started with a procession of the clergy, chief guest, invited guests and university management board members, followed by mass led by the Vicar General Kampala Archdiocese, Senior Charles.
And the knowledge you have received can help you to live in an honest and pleasant way. May God help you to live positively and always thinking about other people, but not you alone.
After Mass, Vice President, also the event's chief guest, retired Major Jessica Alupo, was installed as the university's third chancellor.
Chancellor of St. Lawrence University. Congratulations, Madam Chancellor.
Allow me also, ladies and gentlemen, to thank all the management, board of directors, and well-wishers of St. Lawrence University for identifying me as a suitable candidate for the position of Chancellor of St. Lawrence University.
Having been handed the instruments of power, the newly named Chancellor took oath and pledged boosting the university's education system.
In light of today's occasion and regarding higher education, you may wish to note that teaching, learning, science and innovation, and knowledge transfer are key areas of concentration. Government established the Students' Loan Scheme, which benefits students at university level, but who are admitted in chartered universities. I am certain that soon St. Lawrence University will start benefiting from that opportunity.
By virtue of authority entrusted to her. Alupo announced graduates who made it in different doctrines, ranging from certificate to degree levels.
Honor to present to you the following persons who have successfully completed their program of study and have been found worthy to be awarded a certificate in foundation program of St. Lawrence University, and they are Agnes Peter Oripo Moga, Ablahai Wasane.
By virtue of the powers vested in me, I award a certificate in foundation program of St. Lawrence University upon all those persons whose names have been read.
Vice Chancellor Charles Masaba and the board chairman Michael Sebalu demanded for the university's status charter.
The board of directors, university council, management and staff have been working tirelessly to fulfill the requirements stipulated by our regulator, the National Council for Higher Education. We should be a chartered university.
I would like to commit that we've moved a great distance in terms of walking the journey of charter. The little that remains to be fulfilled is going to be fulfilled.
Maivan Juku for UBC.
Ministry of Education and Sports has warned schools that defied the guideline to retain the fees for third term but increased charges without permission from the Permanent Secretary that it is going to act because the issue is still being discussed by Cabinet. While opening this year's Senior 5 selection and placement exercise at Lugogo, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, Katie Lamaro, said investigations have commenced to get these heads of schools.
About 1,200 head teachers from private and government-aided secondary schools have converged at Uma Conference Hall to participate in the selection exercise for Senior 5 students.
There's similar kinds of schools as 1, 2, 3. In the end, you are left from all of them, and we get the child unplaced. I want to put this on you, head teachers and your career guidance masters. Let's guide the children.
By carrying out this exercise with integrity, that we shall dispel the public's concerns about fairness and merit in our education system.
Majority of the schools UBC crew interacted with say the cut-off points have been risen compared to last year. This has been attributed to the good performance of the 2022 Senior 4 candidates.
This year we have 2 children scoring 8 in 8. So therefore you expect an upward trend when it comes to the intake and quality of the what?
One, the performance seems to have been a little better in the region.
The Assistant Dean Upper School Makerere College, Ndagire Sarah Joko, said they were given 150 students and their cut-off points for boys are 14 and girls 17. While the Director of Studies, Iganga SS Bonkoya David, says this year they have been given more students, which led to the cut-off points to be raised. He says the grades per combination have gone up and very many students qualify.
Last year, where we had 15 for the boys and then 18 for the girls. Cut-off has risen because there was improved performance this year compared to last year.
The performance, especially for chemistry, was a bit higher than last year, and many of these children are looking for science combinations.
Immaculate Hearts Girls Secondary School in Nyachibale, Rukunjiri district also raised their cut-off points to 18 from last year's that was 21. Sister Sabina says there was a stiff competition. The Deputy Head Teacher Arua Public School, Richard Alema Dawa, says the quality of students given to them this time around is better.
And there are so many people who have been sold outside who had given us a first choice. Actually, even those of 18 have been sold to other schools.
To admit, matches these are given to us. In most cases, did not come. The number which comes might be half.
The Permanent Secretary Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, Katie Lamaro, urged head teachers to exercise professionalism during this exercise because the future career of the learners is determined by the combinations they take at A-level. She expressed disappointment with head teachers who defied the guideline issued by the Minister of Education on school charges.
Also, several times been challenged by the Parliament. What have you done to the schools that have defied your guidance? Provide evidence of any actions that you've taken. So we are really constrained, and this time we are going to do something about it.
During this year's Senior 5 selection, 329,939 students will be selected and placed in different schools, and school heads have been availed 3 lists: the one for placement, non-selected, and the selling list. I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
Now, government has been advised to adopt the model of centralized laboratories and workshops at secondary school level. In a presentation to the Education Review Commission, the Executive Director, Uganda Vice Chancellors Association, Professor Ediabu Lugujo, asserts that the model drives efficiency in training and solves the problem of lack of equipment that has been a challenge.
Uganda is in the process of reviewing the education system. In this regard, several stakeholders have given recommendations to the Review Commission. Education expert Professor Elia Bulungujo recommends one way to promote sciences and practical subjects, as has been re-echoed by the President.
Government could adopt a model of centralized laboratories and workshops for secondary and technical institutions that are in close proximity. This introduces efficiency in the delivery system. Private providers can start laboratories where schools pay on instruction. Someone with money can set up private laboratory, and people come in and they have training. They train, they pay, and they go. Weekend they come, train, and they go. You see, instead of you setting up infrastructure, then laboratory too expensive. Even these private one with big buildings, you enter inside there is nothing.
Rethinking the education system should incorporate mainstreaming information technology in line with agenda to promote science and technology.
Policy should consider the cost, provision, and maintenance of ICT across the school system in terms of the educational benefit and equity it will bring to schooling and to science and technology education in particular. This is in preparation of attainment of the aspiration of Vision 2040.
Limited funding is a constant challenge to the education sector that could be solved by cost sharing, as Professor Lungujo explains.
A cost sharing based on a pro rata per district may be introduced. Let government introduce a loan scheme for all professional programs. You are not denied, you have done very well, but be on a loan scheme. Now your rich father will come and say, no, I don't want loans, for me I will pay. They will pay, no problem.
As the country awaits the reviewed education policy, university-industry partnerships should be enforced through legislation to produce skilled youths ready for the world of work. Miriam Wumcha, UBC News.
North Kyoga and Kampala Metropolitan North have topped the list of areas with the highest crime rate. Theft, rape, child neglect are among the outstanding crimes in the 2022 Police Crime Report. Now we break this down for you tonight.
Uganda Police Force is present in 28 policing regions across the country. 231,653 cases were registered in different regions. North Kyoga registered the highest crime rate with 17,605 cases in the rural areas of Alebutong, Apach, Koli, Lira, Oyam, Amorata, Dokoro, Kwanya, and Otuke. The highest registered crime here is common assault, with 3,648, child neglect, child desertion. Other crimes general were 5,035, and malicious damage to property. Kampala Metropolitan North, in the areas of Nansana, Kasangati and Old Kampala, registered 16,691 cases, the highest being theft at 5,315, mobile phone theft, motorcycle theft, motor vehicle theft, robberies, aggravated robbery, breakings, rape being at 136, and narcotics. Kampala Metropolitan South registered highest number of economic crimes. Albertine registered more cases of defilement at 244 out of 8,960 cases of defilement, and burglaries at 513. Other regions with highest case registered include Riz, Greater Masaka, Kampala Metropolitan East, and Aswa. Besides the regional records, it is key to note that Ministry of Education and Sports recorded 25 cases of defilement. Health Ministry recorded 2 cases. All these ministries recorded 1 case of assault each, 6 cases of theft in education, and 3 cases in health.
Good afternoon.
At least 296 people were killed arising from murder by shooting. The areas of Albertine and Rizi registered more cases of murder. Security agencies featured as contributors to the statistics of murder by shooting. Ivan Kahwa reports.
Uganda Police report for 2022 revealed that homicide cases increased from 3,912 in 2021 to 4,043 in 2022. More people were killed by assault, registering 1,085 cases, 117 by poisoning, 72 ritual murders, 379 by strangulation, 231 by hacking, murder by mob action, 953. These cases were high in the Albertine, Rizi, Rwenzori West, Greater Masaka, among others. Let's now shift focus onto murder by shooting. The report reveals a decrease from 303 in 2021 to 279 in 2022. 296 persons were shot dead, 266 were male, 6 male juveniles, 19 were female adults, and 5 were female juveniles. 27 cases of murder by shooting were still pending in court. Kotido and Napak both registered 29 cases each. Kabong and Agago registered 14 each. Abim registered 11 cases. Karenga, Moroto, Old Kampala, Nakapiripirit, Tororo, Nabilatuk, Kasangati, Kawempe registered 42 cases. According to the crime pattern, 221 murders were executed in rural areas, while 102 in urban areas and 7 on highway. 5 UPDF officers, 6 police officers, 1 prison officer, and 8 private security officers were involved in murder by shooting. 32 incidences of attack on security personnel with intent of stealing and robbing guns were reported countrywide. KMP North registered the highest cases, standing at 12. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabode Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabode deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabode Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
let me just send.
Yes.
Oh,
accessing your contacts the old way.
Yeah.
Accessing your contacts with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to access your favorite contacts right through the app. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
This is our family's pride.
This is my friend.
This is the future of our nation.
She is the future of Uganda, and the policies I enact today will protect her from teenage pregnancy.
She is the hope of our community, and I will talk to others about how we must protect her.
She is our family's pride, and I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Their support meant so much to me. I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Welcome back from the break, and we're glad that you're still with us. I'm LAURYN MASIKA KAZIMOTO. Now, Local Government Minister Raphael Majezi has called local leaders to embrace unity to usher development in their districts. Majezi made this pronouncement while launching a pipe water scheme project in Aleptong district. Majezi said Aleptong is one of the most peaceful districts, irrespective of the different party leaders. We have more in this report.
Local Government Minister Raphael Magezi has hailed the unity among leaders in Aleptong district as one of the factors causing development in the area.
Aleptong is quiet. It's a district that does not give me headache in local government. You will never hear problems here. So they are settled, they are at work together as a team.
Magezi said unlike other districts with many wrangles, Aleptong has remained united. He urged other leaders to emulate the relationship between the district chairperson, who is UPC, and the area MPs, who are NRM, to coordinate development in their areas.
And this is something that other districts should copy. Indeed, their performance has improved. The chairman LC5 is UPC, but he, in his own words, is ready to continue supporting President Museveni because of what we are delivering on the ground.
Telling me, the councillors are telling me that this is one of the best houses they have ever seen.
It's not the only place where I've worked, and I appreciate I've worked in many places, and I leave a record of people appreciating and feeling to be part of me.
Magezi was in Aleptong to commission the construction of a 303 market at Aleptong Town Council and a 1.2 billion pipe water scheme at Alanyi in Abako sub-county.
And I've directed that even the villages be given standpipes in this particular parish so that we can fulfill the directive of the president to have a safe water source in every village.
As the area member of parliament, I believe that this water project will go a long way in solving problems and community challenges associated with unclean water.
Aleptong district water coverage currently stands at 72%, but when completed, authorities believe it could hyper.
When this water is powered by solar, we shall put a tower 10 meters high, then we shall distribute it by gravity. And these 10 water cubes will be for the community. And then we shall also have 50-yard taps. And these 50-yard taps will be taken to some institutions. Some of them shall be taken into individual homes.
Some of these taps will be deployed to stimulating demonstration gardens for vegetables, for simple crops around the households, so that these households can now produce all year round.
The $53 million project under local economic growth legs, funded by Islamic Development Bank, is supporting 17 water-stressed districts across the country to improve on their production capacities, as well as enhance sanitation and hygiene in the rural communities. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
That's a wonderful sight to see right there. Now, the 6th Governing Council of the Uganda Institute of Information and Communication Technology, NACAWA, has been officially inaugurated with a challenge to transform the institute into a national one-stop center for ICT skills training in the country. The Permanent Secretary with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede, presided over the function on behalf of the Minister, Dr. Chris Bariomunsi.
Despite Uganda's possession of several universities and other tertiary institutions of higher learning as regards the IT sector, there is need to upgrade the Uganda Institute of Information and Communication Technology to become a one-stop national IT practical skills training center to emulate the example of lawyers who have the Law Development Center. It is upon this background that the Permanent Secretary with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede, has challenged the members of the 6th Governing Council of the Uganda Institute of Information and Communication Technology to upgrade the institute into a national ICT skills training center to ease employment of graduates. She was presiding over the inauguration of the 6th Governing Council of the Institute on behalf of the Line Minister, Dr. Chris Bariomunsi.
Universities provide degrees in computer science, in IT, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to special skills that people need on the job, there are some skills needed, the soft skills in presenting, soft skills that you need to start on the job. So UICT is going to be that institution that provides the skills.
The Institute Principal, Dr. Frederick Kitogo, and other outgoing 5th Governing Council Chairman, Engineer Edward Kasole, highlighted some of the challenges encountered in the period, including COVID-19 and inadequate operational infrastructure.
COVID-19 pandemic, however, we took it as an opportunity for us that we spearheaded the implementation of open distance and e-learning.
However, despite the challenges, the outgoing board also registered some achievements like increase in staff remuneration, electric library system, among others.
And we got an approval by Ministry of Education and Sports to be put on the Joint Admissions Board program. And subsequently, the Ministry of Finance also allocated funds.
The institute, which is managed by the Uganda Communications Commission on behalf of the Ministry of ICT, has a mandate to have digital transformation program for the country in line with the National Development Plan 3 and Vision 2040. Joshua Kagoro, Collins Juko, UBC News.
Muslims in Arua Muslim district have condemned the agenda of homosexuality and its inception into West Nile. Muslim leaders argue that homosexuality is against the norms of Islam and African culture and should not be accepted in Ugandan communities.
While alluding to the Sodom and Gomorrah story, Sheikh Abu Jafar Shaban, the district Qadi of Arua Muslim district, said homosexuality is an evil act which violates the Quranic teachings and African culture. This comes ahead of a countrywide pre-planned demonstration against LGBTQ in Uganda.
A man does not attract a man because he doesn't have that force of attraction. It's supposed to be opposite. But the West has crossed all the lines that they say, no, do you know what? You man, you can turn to be a woman. You woman, you can turn to be man. This thing has entered our communities. It is in our schools. We, the Muslim community of Arua, we stand on behalf of all the Muslims to say no to homosexuality.
However, the main concern is about infiltration of homosexuality agenda in schools that Islam will want to deal with.
These schools that are mushrooming, they are weak financially. They may need support from this kind of funders. So I think the government has to open an eye, if possible, punish such schools by closing.
Haddad Salim, the legal advisor in the office of Arua Muslim district, said there is no tentative legal instrument, although there is another way to prosecute homosexuals in courts of law. He calls upon the Parliament of Uganda to have a bill to that effect.
When you look at the sources of law, we have the supreme law, which is the Constitution. Then we have the Acts of Parliament. And then we have case law, meaning decisions made by justices in courts form part of our laws. And you can argue a case based on a case law if there's no substantive law. Meaning Uganda has done something, but now we need to do more. That's why we are urging the government that this bill should have gone yesterday.
The district Qadi said Muslim leadership will advise suspected homosexuals in the community on dangers of the act and publicly expose those proven to be practicing homosexuality.
What happened to them, the Sodom and the Gomorrah? You know what happened to them. We shall first give him those verses in Quran. If it's true that we have confirmed he is, we shall shame him here in the Mimbar, then surrender him to the authority.
Mariam Muhammad, a strong believer in Islam, accused the West of using homosexuality as an alternative to family planning among Africans.
Because this one's going to destroy our children's future, they will not even produce. Maybe they are doing so because of family plan, which they have tried in vain. People still continue producing. Now they have come with another system for the homosexuality.
Joseph Odamam, UBC News in Arua City.
Thank you, Joseph Adama. Now, parents and children who sat their primary living examinations in Olerengedwat sub-county in Nabilatuk district are worried on the missing results of the 67 candidates who sat PLE last year. Although senior ones started school last week, many of the last year's candidates are still at home or have gone back to primary 7. According to Nabilatuk District Education Officer Raymond Kolobe, they have tried to engage UNEB officials, and the examination papers for Lorengedwat sub-county were misplaced. We have more details.
Since results of primary living examination for year 2022, candidates of Lorengedwat sub-county in Nabilatuk district have never received the results.
Been waiting for results. All the peoples have been waiting for results. By the time they say the results has been released, so some of them were requesting on their phones, as usual. But the rumor came that, oh, the schools never cleared the debts.
The result have not come. We are waiting for the result. We are at the school for a reason that if the results come, then we can see the way of applying somewhere.
I went there and came with no results. He came without any, he only came with the information of only that he got the contact, he brought the contacts of those people who are responsible of the UNEP.
15-years-old Innocent Lokol is among the 67 candidates who sat their primary living examinations in 3 schools in Lorengedwat sub-county in Nabilatuk district, but to date they don't know their performance.
If these results don't come, we need to go back. But there is no way, since our parents wasted a lot of money. No any other way they can get another money for us to go back to school.
Some children have gone back to primary 7, while others are still home.
That I can be in position to receive when I have not seen the results. I have come back to repeat because I don't have someone to take me over to another school.
Parents and local leaders have tried to engage school heads but don't have answers.
In receiving information from the district that wait next week, which they talked of was last week, that week ended. Then this week they say the Wednesday, which was supposed to be yesterday, also passed.
The district, I informed my LC5 and the DO. Why don't you go to Kampala and find out the truth? That I think the results was scattered in other schools. I don't know, other mixed with the other schools. That there are schools which have similar names almost with some of these.
In some schools like Lorengedwat Primary School, head teachers decided to keep in hiding. District leaders explained that UNEB misplaced the examination papers.
I heard yesterday in the evening that some people came from the Ministry of Education to find out, is it true children sat for exams and have not got the results? The person they got there told them, yes, children were there, sat for exams, but have not got the results up to now. And he showed them the photo album, which is here with us.
My engagement with the executive director, Mr. Dongo, I learned that the scripts got misplaced from the marking center, and I think they went along together with the scripts that were already marked and entered. And so it became a challenge to them to discover what could have been the problem. But what they did was go back into what they call as confidential garbage. It's normally where they pack scripts that have already been marked and entered. After failing to make an observation of the scripts outside, they had to go into that store. It's actually, I'm told, it's a very big store where all the old scripts are always packed and packed. So it became the assignment, and Mr. Dongo, the executive secretary, had to put the officers in charge on task to go and ensure that they go through those scripts. And indeed, when they went through the scripts in that store, they were able to discover that the scripts of our centers were there and not marked by them. And so what he told me about yesterday was that the scripts were discovered, they were even already marked, they were now marked, and the results already entered into the system.
Parents and children are worried that some learners may miss out on the available scholarships in the region.
Look at what our children are going to miss. Scholarships. This is scholarship of
even loss of interest.
Straight it up.
Scholarships and loss of interest.
So we had to write a letter to Irish Aid through Street of Foundation. We wrote a letter indicating that they could give us 1 week, and this, which is heading tomorrow on Friday. That means beyond tomorrow, if the results not out tomorrow, then I think the sub-county loses that slot.
Neblatuk district has 16 primary schools, and PLE results for only 3 primary schools in LAURYN sub-county are missing.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we return after these messages.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Did you know that you can safely and conveniently make your school fees payments anytime, any school, anywhere using Airtel Money? Oh yes! Simply pick up your phone and dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Choose between school pay, peg pay, or shore pay. Enter student number. Enter amount, confirm name and transaction. Enter Airtel Money PIN. A confirmation message will be sent to you upon a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Back from that break and now into the business scene. As the legal industry continues to evolve, experts predict that emerging technology trends will not only aid in the transformation and delivery of legal services but also improve on the working processes of justice institutions. This was emphasized at the Future Lawyers Week Africa event hosted by Innovation Village and the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime.
To alternative service providers, the future of law is set to look very different from that in the past. This has compelled the Innovation Village and the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime to organize the Future Lawyers Week Africa, aimed at bridging the gap between legal services and technology.
We're seemingly seeing a high rate
of pre-trial cases. So we have case backlog. So we have a lot of people in prisons who are on remand. So their cases have not yet been concluded. And that spirals back to some of the challenges and the gaps.
We are talking about nurturing and supporting the young who might not have the resources to be able to innovate. We're talking about increasing product development and creative engagement with like minds to allow learning from one another.
Joint efforts of different stakeholders are critical in the evolution of a digitally led legal and justice sector. However, only a handful of legal professionals have adopted the use of technology.
With the traditional lawyers of today is that they are dogmatic. And by the word dogmatic, I mean that they are so hinged on traditions, and these traditions hold them so much that they are not comfortable to divulge into other new areas. So the challenge that we have today in the legal profession is the inability, the inflexibility of advocates and lawyers not to think outside the box, and the inability for them to comprehend, to accept the fact that the world is changing every day.
With the introduction of an e-justice platform, citizens will be able to navigate the complexities of the law and also contribute towards the transparency and accountability of the justice institutions.
The future lawyer must do his research. The future lawyer must be truthful. So that's why, and for the courts with these advocates to work, they need to bring on board and very high technology to be able to look at, to gather data, to be able to find what offenses prevail in certain areas, to also be able to detect the sources, the reasons for the offenses.
Charlotte Amuge and Juma Samba for UBC News.
Uganda must consider biodiversity preservation in its industrialization process. According to analysts, this will help enhance sustainable growth and curb the dangerous effects of climate change.
The fourth economic Mkutano has been structured around regulatory aspects to do with greening Uganda's industry. Industrialization for inclusive growth is at the center of the country's social and economic growth agenda. As Uganda strives to achieve its industrialization goal by 2040, the importance of government policies around greening industry is paramount.
We do, as Private Sector Foundation, we do encourage our members to ensure that production is environmentally friendly, the entire production value chain, the entire processes. And this doesn't mean just manufacturing, by the way. Even in services, you should ensure that your production process or your value chain of you getting to the service is all environmentally friendly. But there are two things. One, you can encourage the private sector to do that. Private sector is driven by profits. So on the one hand, they can be encouraged to do that, but on the other hand, they should be penalized if you don't comply.
Various stakeholders emphasize the need for recognizing the adverse effects of climate change and the importance of preserving biodiversity in the transformation journey.
Sustainability is very, very important. Actually, we have a criteria, three-level criteria for granting a license. Number one is, are you going to export 80% of your annual factory outputs? Because we want exports. We are implementing an export-led industrial policy in this country. Number two, are you going to create jobs for Ugandans? Because Ugandans need jobs. Number three, is your investment not going to destroy the environment? And that's why we require every developer, every operator to avail us with their environmental and social impact assessment report.
In addition to sensitization of the public on the relevance of free zones, the Free Zones Authority is urged to ensure industrialists not only set up businesses but evaluate their eco-friendliness.
People must understand the zones are there for them, they're cost-effective, and everything is there, supposed to be there. So it's lack of, I think, understanding on how it works. That's why I see it. Not many people understand the importance of being the free zones.
2023 Mkutano centers on unlocking the green economic zone's opportunity for the private sector in Uganda. The event is designed to enable engagement between attendees with the view of arriving at consensus on a specific action ledger. Dennis Igor and Santina Kansime for UBC News.
And now into the world of sports. It is an East African derby as Uganda Premier League champions Vipers prepare to host Tanzanian giants Simba this Saturday in the CAF Champions League group stages, looking for a first win on the continent to put a stop on their poor run under the new coach Bianchi. The match will be the first game played under the floodlights at St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende, home to the Venoms.
Having lost their group game in the Champions League to Raja Casablanca, followed by a goalless draw against Ghanaian side Holoya, Vipers will be desperate to secure a win against Simba to resurrect their chances of progressing. Since the appointment of new coach Beto Bianchi, Vipers are yet to score a goal in normal time, even against lower division opponents in the Uganda Cup. Bianchi will need his attackers like Yunus Sentamon, Bright Anukani, and Captain Milton Karisa to discover their scoring boats.
At home, and we must show our fans, we must show our club that we're ready to die and to fight for it. So we are going to fight for the club, fight for the nation, and we're fighting for the fans too, because I'm sure many of them are coming to celebrate, not just to come here and we lose and we go back on their side. So it's so bad, so we have to fight and make sure that we win so that they live here happy.
Simba have also had a poor start of their Champions League campaign and lost their first two games, keeping them a point below Vipers. Floodlights have been installed at St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende in preparation to host the game, the first of its kind there, and subsequent matches in the league and on the continent.
Well, thank you so much for your company. But before we leave, let's take another look at the top stories this evening. In our headlines tonight, Serere County voting ends. Low turn-up and intimidation allegations dominate Serere polls. 67 learners risk missing secondary education as UNEB allegedly misplaced PLE results of Nabilatuk pupils. Recordings of how suspects kidnapped and murdered Najirinya have been presented to court. And Vipers prepares for East African derby against Simba. I'm LAURYN Masika Kazimoto. We leave you for now, but do join me for our second edition at 10 o'clock. See you then.